How much does it cost to get a mortgage? That's the topic for today's episode, and without further ado, let's dive in. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. For those who are tuning in for the first time, this is your channel for real estate education. So today we're going to talk about the cost of getting a mortgage. So let's get into the wall. So as part of every mortgage transaction from beginning to end, you have what they call the origination fees and the closing costs. And these two numbers combined can range someplace between 1 to 6% of the total loan that you're trying to get, the total value of the mortgage. So what exactly falls within the category of the origination fees? So you have the application fee or the mortgage origination. These terms are actually used interchangeably. You also have the appraisal, because the bank need to know whether your property is really worth what you're claiming it's worth. And then you have the surveys or the title search and stuff like that, because they want to make sure that that's in fact clear, that the bank is actually not financing something that could be owned by someone else and stuff like that. So the survey and the title search. And then when you come to the closing side, then you'll have to worry about taxes. How much of it is actually transferable? How much of it do you have to pay out of your own pocket? You'll have to pay for the attorney's fees, because that's something that it's taken into consideration. And then you also have to worry about title recording fees, because now you have to make sure that the title is actually transferred from the seller into your name or your LLC's name. You will also have to cover the cost of insurance. And that's the insurance for your mortgage, and that's also the insurance for the title, just to make sure that you can ensure that the title is in fact clean and free of any other liens that other people might have. The interesting thing about this is that not all of this can fall within your pocket. And the other fee that typically people seem to forget about is the realtor's fee, right? So you have the cost of your real estate agent, right? And that could range sometime between 5 to 7% of your realtor's fee. And so what's interesting about this is that the reason why most people tend to forget to include the whole real estate fee in the closing cost is that typically this fee is actually paid by the seller. Meanwhile, the rest of these are usually paid by you as the buyer. But what if I told you that these fees are actually negotiable? You can actually negotiate that before you even hit the closing, right when you're about to put in the offer or close on the offer. So I'm sure some of you have heard some investors or some people that you know within your circle saying, well, I negotiated the closing fees. I have the seller go half and half. So some of these fees you can actually split with the seller. It's unusual to see that unless you're really, really savvy on investing, because you don't see the negotiations happen too often whenever a mortgage is involved, because typically the seller is already taking care of 5 to 7% and you're taking care of 1 to 6%. So the cost, the closing cost, the cost of getting a property is somewhat considered split equally. But I have done negotiations before and where I've actually split the cost of the titles and the surveys with the seller itself, because I was just buying so much out of them that he agreed to actually negotiate this chunk out of my hand and help me save in some of the fees. Now, another thing I would like for you to look into, and I know this episode is all about how much will it cost you to get a mortgage, but what if I tell you that you can actually save even more if you were to buy the property quote unquote cash? So let's say, for example, you have a joint venture where you're actually putting in the effort, and then all of a sudden you have an investor who has all the money. He doesn't want to invest the time or the labor, but he has all the money in the world to give to you. Then you can close on the property using cash. Or let's say if you use services like Fund and Grow and you want to leverage business credit cards and take money out of those credit cards and buy your properties quote unquote cash without having to go through the bank and this whole mortgage process, you will still have to pay some of these fees, but not all of them. And the fees that you definitely have to worry about paying will be taxes, will be the title recording, definitely insurance, because it's something you have to pay, and the attorney itself. You don't have to pay for a mortgage application fee at this point because you're not applying for any mortgages. And then the next fee that you can actually negotiate or remove completely out of the equation if you were to buy cash will be appraisals. So this is like a 50-50, depends on which route you want to take. Normally, you won't need an appraisal if your realtor can get you the comps. So they will run an evaluation, they get the comps of properties that have been sold nearby the area that has the same criteria as yours. And then you can use those comps and sit down and have conversations with the seller and agree on a selling price. But then some other investors will still want to go the route of the appraisals because they feel that maybe it gives them more leverage in negotiations, or maybe they just want to use that as a complement on top of whatever the realtor has found them in terms of comparable numbers and stuff like that. So definitely up to you, but they can't be eliminated out of the equation. Now with surveys and title, there's no way out of this because you want to make sure that even if you are buying the property cash, that your title has no liens on it, it's completely clean out of it. And in terms of real estate, that's something that can be split between you and the seller, but definitely this is something that you cannot do without. You have to pay these, but now that you have removed a mortgage out of the equation, you definitely have more leeway to negotiate with the seller and bring the cost of these closing or origination fees a lot lower than you would have originally incurred if you were to apply for a mortgage. So there you are. It's all about the options. So now you have various options, various routes, and where you will want to consider or look into before you even close at that awesome property that you're looking to buy as an investment. And that's everything I have for today. I hope you guys found the content valuable and helpful. And as usual, do not forget to share the love with someone who you think might find the information valuable. Do not forget to hit the like. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And for those who are actually interested in mentorship, here's the website down here. Here's the information where you can actually reach out to, and we'll get in touch with you. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.